All right. You are welcome to this recording session. I'll be talking about roles and reports. Um, remember that under AWS service, we have many services there, and you should be looking at the usual of roles, user under a service called security, identity, and compliance. Under that service, we have IAM there. IAM is identity access management. So if you click on that, there we have user group, user role. We've discussed about how to create user. Either you are using your console or using CLI to create user. You've already seen how to create group. Either you are using your console or your CLI. So today I want to talk about roles. So what do you mean by a role? And when do we use role as a cloud engineer? A role is a set of permissions that grant access to actions and resources in AWS. These permissions are attached to the role. So what we are saying here is that a role is like granting a particular action and resources in AWS. For instance, you need S3 buckets in your EC2 machine. So how do you assign to ensure that the two of them communicate together? So what are the features of Iamroles? The features of identity access management role. One, a role is not uniquely associated with a single person. It can be used by anyone who needs it. A role does not have long-term security credentials, that is password or security key. You don't need that. You assign permission to AWS services with IAM role. Once you assign that particular service with a role, you do not need password or security key to make use of that particular service again. Up to 10 policies can be assigned to a role. You can assign up to 10 policies to a single role. Now, having explained that, let's dive into the practical aspect of how to make use of role. So I'm going to follow this documentation. You go to IAM service, which we are already there. Go to role, click on create role. All right. So select AWS service that you want to use, you want to assign a particular role with it. For instance, EC2. Then you have to click on the permission so you can select the policy we want to attach to our role. For instance, we want to attach S3 full buckets to that service. So we need to give the permission. So let's quickly do that. Let's quickly do that. All right. So this is role. Click on role. I do not have any role presently. Let me create one. Okay. All right. So use case, we have commonly used service, which is EC2 and Lambda. So I'm going to this service EC2, click on that. I want to make use of S3 buckets with this my EC2. Next. So use permission policy. Permission for that EC2 to be able to use S3 bucket, full access. So just type S3 full access, this. All right. Next. Role name. Let's call it instance. You can just call it EC2. EC2. Okay, let's call it can be any name anyway. buckets, let's call it S3 buckets, S3 buckets EC2, S3 bucket underscore instance. All right, so you can see this policy you have attached to that. So create role now. The name, all right, remove this S3 bucket instance, that's the role name. All right, so let's view the role that I've created. Let's scroll down. Let's click on role again and see whether the role has been created or not. Yet to be created. All right. Let's wait and see. Yeah. So I have created that role and I have given full access to the S3 bucket. So the next thing we'll do now, is let's create a Linux machine and attach this role to EC2 machine. Let's create a Linux machine and attach role to that EC2 machine. Of course, which Iamrole, the ability to create the using our CLI to create our bucket. All right. Okay. So the next thing we'll do, let's create one EC2. Linux EC2. Let me create that one quick. Okay. Instance. Okay. Let's quickly launch one instance. Okay. Let's say Linux 4. Scroll down. Let me pick keeper. Scroll down, let me pick maybe, let me pick this. Scroll down, launch instance. Okay, view all instance, refresh. Okay, so let's connect to this instance. Connect to this instance. No, before we connect to that instance, let's assign that role. Let's assign the RM role. So go to action, click on security, click on modify IAM role, search for that role. Let's wait and see. Trying to load. Let's wait and see. I think I've created one. All right, let me go back, and it means it's unavailable, unable to load profile instance. Okay, let's quickly create another one. create role, common case, EC2, next, S3 full access, click on this, next, role name, let me call it special role, special 123, scroll down, click on this. All right, so view the role is already created. So let's go back to our instance and check. All right, so click on this, action, security, modify Iamrole, scroll down. Okay, the two are there, so let's just pick any one of it. Let's pick the first one, pick this, then update Iam. Okay, fine. Now they have done this. Now the next thing we do is to connect to our machine. So all right, we've done this. Attach role to the EC2. Which role? EC2 machine, to assign the role of able to make use of that another service, which is S3 bucket. So we have done this. Now let's connect to the machine. Let's connect to our machine. Remember, how do we connect to our machine? Using CLI. Okay, so security credentials. So I have two already. Let me delete this. Delete, deactivate. So let me generate another key, create another access key, check on this. Okay, so this is another one. Take note of that down. Notepad. Okay, I mean not, let me quickly do that. Command prompt, AWS configure. All right, so access key pasted. Another one is secret key. Secret key. Okay, I'm going to maintain the default region. Text. Okay, now let me see whether I can create these S3 buckets. For instance, I want to use CLI and I did not assign name of using this CLI to create I am user. Let's try this and see. Copy this. Let's have a notepad. Using our CLI, I want to create, using that EC2 to create I am user. So let's create one I am user 10, for instance. Copy this, and we did not assign this particular role to that machine. Will it work? Just wait. Of course, yes, it should throw an error. It should throw an error, even despite the fact that it's time zone issue. Let me set the time zone. Sync it. Okay, let me run it. Okay, I've assigned that role. The other one, you can see that from here, I have assigned that. You can do that because you can see that from my console here, from the console here, credentials, I have two. So the first one I've attached to that I am. So I can use that EC2 using CLI to create I am. Yes, I can do that. If I have not done that, you will not be able to do it. Now, what you're actually doing is you have assigned a role to that EC2 to be able to create S3 bucket. So let's see that one now. That is exactly what we're trying to do. All right, create this. Ever before that, you cannot create S3 buckets. Have no this EC2 has no role of creating this S3 bucket. So that machine cannot be used if you did not attach that role to it. So you can see that from this, you can see that it can create I am. This one for the I am for the first one, and this for the S3. So that's why you can create it. All right. So let me create that S3 bucket now with that my EC2. Copy this. So follow the syntax. S3 bucket name. I just call it S3 bucket 1457. So let's run this on that machine. Copy this. So let's run on it. Perfect. So you can see that we have assigned role to that EC2 machine, and the role you have assigned to it is for that machine to be able to create and launch S3 buckets. So that is how to assign role. In other words, we are making two services to work together. We need to assign role. If you want Lambda to work with S3 bucket, you need to assign that S3 bucket to that Lambda. If you want your EC2, your machine, to be able to work with Lambda, you need to assign role. If you do not do that, it will not work. For this particular machine now, I've assigned a role for it to be able to create another user, this machine also to be able to create S3 buckets. So in summary, role, once again, is a set of permissions that grant access to action and resources in AWS. This permission should be attached to that role. So we have attached to that particular instance a role. And what is the role? A role to create S3 buckets. What are the features? Which I've, of course, explained. So you do not need any password or security key once you have attached that particular role. All you need to do is just to use your CLI to create and to make use of that particular service. Thank you very much. All right. You also have credentials reports. You can generate and download a credential report that lists all users in our account and the status of their various credentials, including password, access key, and MFA devices. So this will be demonstrated also. So all you need to do, if you want to have a report of all the users, the status of all the users, their password in your account. I have this account, those that I've created user for, with the access, with their password, even if they have created MFA, I have created MFA on those users. I'm going to reveal all of them through what is called reports. So where is the report? Go to IAM service, click on credential reports, and you can download. So let's quickly see that. Go to IAM user, let's look for reports. Credentials report, this is it, under access report. So click on it. So if you download this now, click on download this report. You're going to see all the users that you have created so far with this my account. So you can just save it. So in Excel format, if you open it, you're going to see all the users I've created. You can see these are the users I've created. So at instance, at a glance, as a cloud engineer, you may be asked to fetch out on our account how many users do we have, and those users, which of them set MFA on their device. And you can also see the access key. You can also see all their secret key as well. So with this, I have almost about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 5 users. The date they were created, the password of each of them. They have password, yes. Only the user 10 does not have his own password. Remember that we use CLI to create this one and this one as well. All those ones that are true, they have their password and they have their username. And none of them have ever set MFA on it. It's only the first one, which is my root user. So you can see at a glance the report of all the users on your account. So this is the concept of role and reports. So with this, we've come to the end of this session. Thank you very much. Kindly do your hands-on. And if there's any question, don't hesitate to get back to me. Thank you very much. God bless.